This
click.
call is now being recorded.
Nice. Okay. All right. Welcome back to Shop Class Podcast. Tonight we got a special episode all the way out in Denver. We're going live out here, and we are at the TACT facility with Danny Combs. Danny, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Thanks for being here.
What is TACT?
So TACT stands for Teaching the Autism Community Trades, and it's the first and, as far as we know, only skilled trades program for autistic individuals. And we're kind of leading the way. A lot of people don't know that the autism community is the highest unemployed demographic in the country. It's a 90% under unemployment rate. Even with a college degree, it's an 85% unemployment rate.
Wow.
And it's 1 in 36 kids. And so what happens is a lot of times they either don't get the opportunity to discover the trade, see if they want to even work in shop class and go into the field. Maybe there's some iPad somewhere. So we have this program that works with all kinds of schools and gets them placed into careers. It's kind of fun.
Wow, that's awesome. And the audience, you're just seeing like this one truck behind us, but they have a full facility. We're going to give you a tour later. There's a full auto shop with 3 bays and lifts. There's a welding area. There's a wood shop area, an electronics area, a 3D printing kind of creative arts
Tech lab. Yeah.
Tech lab, computers. What am I missing?
Oh man, we do a bunch. We'll go over.
Yeah, we're going over the tour. It's awesome. Well, we're going to start with the most important question for Danny that we ask every guest. I'm going to turn it over to someone capable of asking that question, and that is Duke. Give it to us, man.
This is a no prep question either. I don't even know if we pregame told you what the question was. I'm going to be catching you off guard. Danny, did you ever have shop class growing up?
You know, I did have shop class, and believe it or not, my shop teacher, his name was Mr. Wood. I kid you not, Mr. Wood was my shop teacher. And my dad actually still has the clock that I made.
You're not making that up.
I'm not making that up. You can go back and look at the Valley Springs Middle School shop yearbook from I'm old. So late 80s, early 90s. You will find Mr. Wood. So
wow, that's great.
Yeah.
No way. And that was in Long Island, you said?
No, my family's from Long Island. I grew up in North Carolina. So I grew up in the halfback state, but we'd go back all the way, back and forth.
Wait, why do they call it halfback?
Because most people from New York move to Florida and they come to halfway back up.
I've never heard that.
You never heard that? Oh.
Duke, you know this one?
No.
You never heard that?
No.
Well, like my whole family too. Like my whole family for generations was in Long Island, and then the grandparents and they all moved down to Florida.
Right.
And then for a lot of people, it's too hot or they can't adjust to it, so they go halfway back up and they in North Carolina. So halfback state.
Halfback. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you don't want to go all the way back to Jersey or Long Island. Yeah, once you're down in Florida,
Once you're down, you got out. You're not
I going back.
Plus,
New York's
prices, everything start to increase.
Oh yeah.
You might as well just stop halfway.
Wow. So, our next question is, how did you get to where you are now? Maybe you want to give us. I think there's 2 background questions. Like, how did you get to where you are here, and then also, how did TACT get here?
Yeah. So, how I got here. So, my great grandfather in Long Island helped start a company called Grumman, and for fans out there in Long Island, on Bethpage is now it's north of Grumman, and it just happened in Baldwin, Long Island. My great grandfather was neighbors with Mr. Grumman, and he always just loved making stuff. So he was making the airplanes and all the different stuff, and never wanted to do anything other than make stuff. So like my dad has like the original tools that they would use to make different things when it was a small little shop before it became what it became. And my grandfather worked for Grumman too after the Air Force in Korea. And then my dad was a baseball player that ended up becoming a general contractor.
Get out,
and
really?
So I became fourth. When you're growing up, it's free labor every day after school. 4th generation. Of course, you completely reject it and you run to Nashville and go do music, and that's what I did. And it worked really well. I actually did music for a living in Nashville for over a decade.
Wow.
Played with some really famous people, won some awards. I don't know if you know, some Grammy Award winner. So
you were saying, God, I can't even imagine. That's amazing.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, that's impressive, man.
My son was born and changed my life, and he's just incredible. He's the best thing that's ever happened to me. And about 2 years old, we started noticing, some of the things that were making him extra special, but more special than his friends. Came to be called Autism at Vanderbilt out there in Nashville. And when I started researching and seeing what that looked like, I've always loved learning. So I just happened to have a master's in education too, and wrote a bunch of I ended up writing the curriculum for all of music in Nashville schools and all kinds of fun stuff. And seeing what he was really good at making and fixing things even before he could say, "Hello, Dad, I love you." And I thought maybe it was just the family genes working in the trades and growing up doing this. And started looking for a program that could support that, because all these therapies and stuff I was taking him to, while they were great and they did amazing things, it was so deficit based where it was constantly, he needs to do this better, he needs to do that better. It was never recognizing what he could actually do well.
Interesting.
And so started looking.
I like that you say deficit based. So in other words, they weren't highlighting his strengths; they're highlighting his weaknesses. Is that kind of a way to put it?
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, yeah. The school system sort of does that.
Not just school systems, but therapies and all kinds.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was tricky, and it doesn't feel good as a parent when you see like all of the great things about your kid, and you want everybody to see those great things. And when you start doing all the research for your families with autism, the Time Magazine says the average family spends $2.2 million to raise an autistic kid, as opposed to $250,000. And here in Colorado, they end up spending about $100,000 a year on services. So to get an outcome of they're going to spend the rest of their life in a basement or in a day treatment center, that's not okay.
Nah.
And so using all the stuff my parents taught me, decided to start a program that honed on his skills. So it started selfishly. My son is good at this. Let's find a way to support him and help him be successful. And had the chance to meet Dr. Temple Grandin. Do you guys know who Dr. Temple Grandin is?
No.
You should look her up. She's super cool. They made an HBO movie about her and stuff. But she's the one that designed all of the machines that turn cows into hamburgers. And she happens to have autism. And she works with NASA. She works with more people than you can possibly imagine. She's a professor at Fort Collins, and I had the chance to meet her and say, like, I've got this idea. What do you think? And she's like, put down your guitar and go do it. So we started with this 58 Chevy, and so the website's not right anymore. The phone number's not right anymore, but it's a 58 Chevy panel truck. We put it on. I'm a car guy. I grew up working on cars. Right. So it's on a police car frame. It's got a 350 on 20-inch American racing wheels, but Cadillac taillights in the back, and it scoots. I mean, it's really low, and it's fun. And we would load it up with tools. And that was the whole idea, was like show up and teach kids how to make things. I mean, just starting out of the back of a pickup truck.
That's amazing.
And the trades we started with, so the electrical, carpentry, welding, and tech stuff, were all things, and auto, obviously, were all things I knew how to do. So that's how it started.
Wow, that's amazing. Hey, Peter just joined us. How you doing, Peter?
Doing okay.
All right.
Doing good.
This is Dave Combs. We're here in Denver.
Good.
And, I didn't make my way up to Canada yet, but he's in Toronto.
Oh, cool.
Hi there.
But
Nice
East Coaster, and came out to Denver, and we just got the whole backstory. Actually, it's funny because he's talking about how he knows a lot about the Grumman Company, because I guess maybe someone new might not know that, like a younger generation, but they make the trucks, they make the your some of the aluminum boats and stuff. They make like everything.
They make everything. And the neat thing is, later in life, I finally joined the Air Force. It was something I always wanted to do and never did. And I fly satellites and work in the Air Force Reserve doing that. And it's neat to, like, when I did that, my grandfather was so integral in that, and talking to him like, hey, Gramps, I want to do this. I love working on cars. Should I go work on airplanes? And he's like, no, you're going into space. You're going to be doing that. And it's kind of neat to have that full circle legacy. So
wow, that's so cool. We were just talking about space before.
Yeah. That's why I was asking questions. We could talk more about it.
Oh,
that's why I've got the Lagrange points tattoo. So
what is that?
The Lagrange points are the 5 spots in space where, like, the new James Webb telescopes there in L2. It's like where gravity just pulls in such a way that everything can just go there and sit.
Whoa.
It's kind of fun.
Whoa. Dude, very diverse individual here. Noah Hughes is in the house. How you doing?
Hey, doing pretty good. How are y'all doing?
Good.
Noah's a contractor that became a teacher. He's just finished his first year of teaching high school, where they build. They're going to build like a miniature house inside, or I think you're actually going to do like a house on a plot of land, right?
Yeah. We're building it's a little over 1,300 square foot, just single family home.
Nice.
Gotcha. And he's down in Virginia.
Very cool. What part of Virginia?
I live is basically just it is Fredericksburg area.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm in between Fredericksburg and Richmond.
Okay, cool. I grew up in Asheville, North Carolina, so
Oh, for real?
yeah, not
Yeah,
too far away.
If you had a really good throw, you could throw a rock and hit that.
That's why I was asking. Yeah,
Yeah,
you sound like home. I grew up.
Caroline County. So I think we actually border Ashland.
No, you wouldn't be that close. Asheville and Buncombe County, but we'll talk about that later.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. So I don't know if you missed it, but Danny Combs is a founder CEO of a group called Teaching the Autism Community Trades.
There you go.
I got it right.
You got it right.
And I got the opportunity to teach here this week, and I taught them intro to electric vehicle. That's why I'm wearing the Electric Vehicle Learning Center shirt. And I gotta tell you, I knew nothing going into this, and I think it's a underserved community. I can tell, and because I didn't know anything, and I've never taught them, but you can totally do it. They have sort of, if my layman's forgive me, they sort of, you're not sure what to think, and they're either moving very fast or they didn't pay attention to you yet. So you have to sort of adjust. So for instance, like you explain something and you think that they're not hearing you, but then all of a sudden they'll explain it back to you better than you explained it. And they're worried, why are you not moving faster? They already did all the math and they're telling you the physics of it. So it's a pretty incredible community. And we're going to do a tour. And I got to tell you, this facility is, whether you're special needs or not, I think anybody would be jealous of this facility. It's great. Thanks. They got 3 bays. They got a whole bunch of cars in here, and he's a car guy, and music too. Super awesome. Cool. So, all right. So let me think. We could either do the tour now, or let's see. Well, I wanted to ask more about this place.
Yeah.
So when you started, you basically loaded up a bunch of stuff and put it on the truck.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you would make what? You would make appointments and go and then do demonstrations?
We would do it with kids, and we always wanted it to be small numbers because ratios are really important, like how many kids are in your class. And like you guys teach in public school, I mean, God bless you, you're put in such a situation where if you have 24 kids in your class, that's super tough.
Oh no, it's unrealistic.
It's wild. And so I couldn't imagine being a shop teacher with like multiple, dozens of kids in classes. So we have a 6-to-1 ratio always. And it started with that, my background in education, where it needed to be very intentional and differentiated and kind of set up for every kid to be successful. So I would talk to the families and we'd do these different auto classes. And then I would prefab things so that they could do this project and finish it and make it like a kit and get it all done.
Nice.
And the idea was to show kids from the get-go that they could make something and then be successful in it. And then we get them into harder things. But kind of like you did the other day with the cars, right? You can make something simple that's super fun and it's tactile, and then they can see it happen and it engages them and then they want to do more. Same kind of thing.
Yeah. Now, so when you bring these things, did you bring like small engines, or did you bring like what sort of example would you bring?
Oh God, yeah, we had these little workbenches. I mean, obviously 2-stroke engines. I know you and I talked about that because they're super simple to work on. They're very, very mobile. But we would bring some engines. We actually, the engine hoist, I would bring in the car and take it apart every time, which was a ton of work.
Yeah.
And then we had a space that was donated to us after about 6 months or so doing that. And we only got to be there for a little bit. Then we were in another space that we were in for about 4 years leasing. And after, a few years of showing success and getting kids placed into careers, because that's a, metric we use for success, we had the opportunity, all these businesses that support us. So like on our donor wall, which I've already, those are the businesses that helped fund specifically the remodel of this space. So we have hundreds of donors, which are great, but this group jumped in for the capital campaign to help us acquire this new facility and have a legacy.
And you guys bought it or you leased it?
We've got it bought through a company called Urban Land Conservancy.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place. No, it's good. You need a home,
because
you got to build on it. Imagine you had to move again. Oh my God.
No, moving this over here was 10 moving trucks. And this is just over 18,000 square feet. Our last facility was up 5,000.
And wow. And what about now, when you were mobile, how did you find your classes? Did you call the school ahead of time? Are there specific schools?
Yeah.
Or is it in a public school?
It was like libraries, rec centers. I would do schools, talking to the resource, like special education teachers. There's an autism society, different things like that, and just kind of mobile or market it like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what advice would you give? We'll do the tour in a sec, but like, what advice would you give if a teacher has never worked with autistic students before? You know, is there kind of something you want to, let the teachers know?
I think there's a lot of misconceptions about what autism is. I think people, it's a spectrum, right? And it's not a linear spectrum. So people used to look at it like a line of low and high functioning. It does not exist in that way. It's like any human being, right? If you looked at a neurotypical versus somebody that's neurodistinct, their more life would be more represented in a pie, and there's peaks and valleys of everybody where it's something they're good at and something that they need some more support in. An individual with autism is just the same as a neurotypical, but their peaks and valleys might be a little bit more extreme. So you might see that extreme, like you were witnessing, like doesn't seem like they're paying attention, that could be considered a valley, or they're just crushing the math, or that could be a peak. So just recognizing that and trying to go into it, not with the mindset of that they're anything less, that they can't do it, all of these different things, because as educators and setting the kids up for success, they can absolutely do it. And we just have to look at it and say, like, how can we present this in a way where they're going to be successful? So really just thinking about that consciously before you go into it.
Nice.
As you're seeing there, they crush it. They do great.
Yeah, it was so much fun, and they're adorable. We did the cars and races and stuff, and they totally built little cars themselves, like RC cars in a way. No problem at all. And they're young too, right? Like our age group was 15.
Yeah,
so,
they're like teenagers, older than 12. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I've seen adults struggle with this. It's like, all right, cool. Yeah, we should do the tour.
Let's do it.
All right, okay. So I'm gonna grab the phone here. Let's switch around some things. Let me turn off the thing. Okay, let me know. You guys can hear me?
All right, I like it.
Oh, hold on one second.
Audio's good.
Speaker. Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Audio's good.
Okay, all right, rock and roll. Let me pin this piece here so I can. Oh, sorry. Okay, well, we'll at least let them look at somebody cool while I'm doing that. Yeah.
Nice kicks.
Oh, they like your kicks.
Oh, thanks. I buy one pair of shoes every year. I wear them all year. Everybody teases me, and every January I break out the new pair of New Balance. To be truth be told, Becky already bought me next year, so they're sitting in a box in the closet.
So look at this floor. Isn't this cool? This is,
what you got there? Epoxy or is that terrazzo?
No, it's epoxy.
we geek out on terrazzo.
Oh, yeah?
This is a terrazzo crowd.
Oh, there you go. All right.
All right, so let's walk in.
So the idea is you walk in and you want to see cool cars from the get-go. So like we want it to look really fun and presentable, where it's instantly exciting and engaging. But like knowing we started in cars, it really needs to look kind of fun like that. We have like our original school bus once we had our first facility, which was a '63 Chevy.
Oh, no way.
And it's super fun. We would take kids back and forth to the train station. And now
Imagine getting picked up in that thing. That's awesome.
Well, it was the first time a lot of the students had seen, crank windows and door locks. And believe it or not, these are actually incredible cars. I think Corvair's got a bad rap.
Oh yeah, is this a Corvair?
Yeah, it's a Greenbrier. Yeah.
So the engine's in the back on this thing?
Yeah.
Get out of here. Under the floor here?
Just like the Volkswagen, it's the same thing. It has a flat floor.
Yeah.
This is actually, I would argue that GM is actually the superior engine for sure.
Wow.
But Americans in the '60s didn't know weight distribution when it came to tire inflation, and like Ralph Nader's whole thing of unsafe at any speed. Really put the right tire pressure like the Germans did in their tires, and
wow.
I mean, there's a reason these vintage Volkswagens ran so well for decades in this house. Like they do okay.
Right, totally. These things are awesome.
Ron?
Yeah, go ahead, Peter. What's up?
We can hear you, but bring back closer to the mic.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
After treatment room, we'll go in here.
All right.
So then our waiting room, we wanted to kind of look like a fun old auto shop. So with the black and white floor, the old Morris Mini Cooper that we cut up and turned into a bench. And then like showcasing too, like different awards that our kids have won. And then we'd have like what we call our wall of fame, where we're getting kids all the jobs, and we haven't finished. There's so many more that we need to put up here. But as we're getting all these kids placed into jobs and breaking that cycle, that 90% unemployment rate, where we have an 83% rate, I mean, there's a whole bunch more we need to put up here. it's neat to showcase where all the kids are getting placed into different jobs. So,
Nice. How's it sound now? You guys there?
Yeah, it's better.
It's good.
Better.
okay,
Okay.
cool. And then like we've got some of the, like boards and plaques and all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Here's the wood shop.
Yeah. So in our carpentry shop, we do everything that you would do in a traditional shop, or we call it like simulating an actual workshop. So the kids are doing the table saw and bandsaw and drill press and miter saws and all the sanders and planers, and everything is the exact same way that you would do in a traditional shop. We don't want to water down or change anything, except we have, the saw stop. So if students figure the blade.
Good idea.
That's
Everybody needs that.
and everything from like little CNCs, all kinds of fun stuff, to the electrical part where you guys were at. We do residential, commercial electric, and then the EV program, which is really pretty fun that you're helping us with getting off the ground. There's
Yeah,
we and stuff.
We just taught this today, and this is a cart. You guys seen this before? It's the EV West, kind of like it's got the electric motor, batteries, speed controller, and it's everything you need for the car. And we had the students in here, and we've got a manual, and we went over the whole thing, and here's the power supplies and whatnot. So that's cool. You got this little EV area now.
Yeah, absolutely. So trying to think of it like by trade, where everything, all the tools can be set up, everything where they can all be successful. And then we've got this cool poster. This was done by another nonprofit. They work with kids with special needs. They do art. And so they took our mission to encourage, empower, and educate and employ the full spectrum of individuals on the autism spectrum. So they've got our 4E, they're encourage, empower, educate, and employ.
That's awesome.
Kind of fun.
Yeah, the space looks great.
And Colorado, they've got the beetle climate, if you notice that, which is like the native wood to Colorado, where the beetles eat all the pine trees, and there's saliva kills the tree, which is terrible, but this is blue hue into it.
Oh.
And so it makes it really pretty and valuable, and
Yeah.
that's why it has all that blue in there. So.
What's the story on the MG?
Oh, so we're gonna be turning that into an EV car. So my
Good candidate.
on an MG, a 1970 MG midget. So when we're like, oh, we're gonna turn a car into an EV.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Way.
Cool. How's the sound, guys?
Good.
It's in and out with.
Oh,
Be
it's
cl-
in and
be
out with
closer.
Wi-Fi?
Be closer when speaking. Like we can hear you're speaking, but you
Oh.
have to have the mic.
Okay.
All right.
I'll just put it right on his face.
Do you want me to carry it around and walk around?
Yeah,
You want to do that?
Hold that.
All right, I'm gonna
Just
just
don't
walk
hit any
around.
buttons.
Don't hit any button. All right.
All right.
So this is our welding program. We're also doing like a rocket building camp this summer. There he is. So we have like a CNC plasma table that the kids use when they're designing stuff. But they do MIG, TIG, and stick welding. We've got it all set up where they've got the different stations where they can actually learn all of the different skills. And then we get them placed into jobs doing MIG, TIG, and stick, which makes it really fun. We moved some of our stuff for the EV open house. So for our auto program, we partner with Toyota and Subaru. They send us engines. And this is either the new Tacoma engine or it's a Lexus engine. It's a 6. So I'm not really sure which one that is. At this point, they've taken it apart and put it back together a few times, which is really fun. And then we practice what we preach. So like even our forklift, this is a 1947, still uses a Model A engine. We just run it off liquid propane. So we want the kids to see that like these machines that they're working on, they keep going.
This
Kind
is
of
so
fun.
cool. This is like literally a flathead engine.
Yeah, it's a flat 4.
This is
It's a Model A engine. Yeah.
Model A, wow.
Yeah.
That's
Or
amazing.
Model T, same. I mean, they use the same. But I mean, everything from just the little distributor, the ignition coil there. You can see the starter on top, and it's manual, so it's got a flywheel,
It's super cool, man.
which is kind of fun.
Nice.
And then we do new and vintage cars, and so in our auto shop, everything we try to do hands-on. So like we've got this old Ford 223 that the kids can take apart, run on a stand. They just rebuilt like a 390, another engine that Toyota donated to us. And the bays are set up with the same rotary lifts that the car dealerships use so that the kids get the same kind of hands-on training. And then we've got like our donor wall from everybody that jumped in. Again, these are all the businesses. This is 68 different folks, businesses and families that helped us do the $1.5 million renovation of our new space, which we're really proud of. And the neat thing is by owning it creates that legacy, right? That
Yeah.
keeps on going. So
Exactly.
is it okay to go up to the?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Let's do it.
So then we have a full technology lab. as well, where we do things like AutoCAD, cybersecurity, coding. And then on like the AutoCAD front, we've got things like 3D printers and lasers where the kids can cut out and design different things. Again, we never do more than 6 kids per class, so very hands-on, very intentional with what they're doing. And then we do a lot of younger kid type stuff too, where we're using robotics kids to get younger kids excited about it. So when they get older, they can come and do skilled trades with us for a career. And the view ain't bad either, is it, right?
Yeah, this is
Kind of giving you just a little tour of our tech lab here. And then we have we do sewing too, a lot of fiber art stuff set up for some of the kids that are doing that this summer. We do all kinds of summer camps, a lot of respite type stuff, which is fun.
great.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like welding. You're putting 2 materials together.
Yep.
Yeah. Stitching it. Awesome. You guys hear us good?
Yes.
Way better when he holds it.
It's all good.
He didn't know. We were just employing him.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, so 3D printing and stuff like that. How do you like the Glowforge?
Oh, it's awesome.
Okay.
It's so plug and play. It's very easy for everybody to kind of engage and use, which makes it, and they can see their ideas come to life, which is fun.
Dude, do you have a what is it, Glowforge?
Glowforge, yeah.
Do you have one of those?
No, they have full spectrum, but the 2 high schools do have glow forges.
Okay. Oh, okay. Cool.
All right. Sweet.
Anyway, neat space. And then I'll show you, we've also got a color therapy room, which is pretty cool. You want to go first? Or you go first? All right.
No, you go for it.
And then starting next year, we're going to have a full culinary department, but to kind of give you a scope
Really?
of the space, yeah,
Great idea.
which will be really fun.
Wow.
Well, then we'll have a social enterprise helping, kids do business, because this is a food desert and industrial area.
Wow.
So the kids that are here all day, I have to turn on the light, sorry guys, actually get to make their lunch. The kitchen's not done yet. We still have to paint the cabinets, but just giving you an idea that the kids get to hang out here all day and then make that lunch and learn that independence, which makes it really fun. And then as well, having a full sensory room where we have color therapy lights that are turned off right now. But if kids are needing a break, they can actually come in, adjust it.
What do I do? Can I do something?
Yeah, you can.
What do you do?
You gotta undo the password first.
Go ahead.
So the idea is, colors change lights, right? So you can change all the different colors. I don't know if this is going to come across, but you can adjust it and program it and do all kinds of fun stuff.
Oh yeah, look at the purple now. This is fun for me.
Yeah, all right.
You got these kids.
Well, I mean, it's great for
Adjust.
students are feeling a certain way. We'll click on the color.
Oh.
Yeah. Then you can change the actual, the temperature of the color. And then if you click on the top part where it says color, then you can change the color too.
Oh. Whoa, it's changing oh, here we go. There's all the colors. Wow, no kidding.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this.
Well,
Wow.
sometimes just setting the right environment.
Huh. I like the trampoline.
Yeah.
That's the way to go.
Anyway, that's our space. You can see it's set up to be, really fun. And to think that this room in right now is about 5,300 square feet. The kids meet up here. They do a safety huddle every day, just like it's going to be actually on the job. They talk about what they're going to work on, and then they go for it and dive in. So
What was this place before?
it was called AccuTube, and it was a facility where they made stainless steel needles for if you were going to get a shot.
Really?
So it was like cutting oil and all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
All over the place.
Cool.
It was
Oh my
great.
god. Can we is this open?
Yeah, take a look. It's dirty right now. It's been sitting. Once we moved into our new facility, but you kind of see how I got it started.
This is awesome, guys. Look at this. I think this is the way to go. You want to get kids excited, show them some cool stuff.
In this,
Yeah, would you say 53?
it's a 58.
58.
Yeah.
Oh man. I like the wrap window. It's like a 57 Chevy type of
it's
thing.
beautiful, yeah. With the double headlights too. That's what they started in 57.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
You guys got to make a Psycho Billy Cadillac. You know what that is?
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be
yeah,
really
of course
fun.
you do.
Yeah,
Of course you do. Nashville guy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Look at this.
Well, we want it to be rat ratty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It needed to look like a shop truck. It
Right.
can't be like this brand new shiny truck that, isn't actually being used as a truck.
Yes.
So we wanted it to have that intent,
Cool.
but have style at the same time.
Nice. Okay. All right. We're going to transfer the computer, and I know you got to get going, so we'll kind of wrap it up.
Sounds good.
All right, let's see. I'll just. Okay, we're back. You guys hear us?
Yeah.
We got you.
Nice. Okay, so that was a cool tour. Yeah, Peter, what do you think, man? You want to go here?
Yes, I do. It would be good to help my daughter, who's 20.
Oh.
She's on the high functioning end of the spectrum.
Right. And where is she now, Peter? What does her life look like?
She's doing her grade 12, second year part of it. Just
Okay.
a couple of credits. She's just picking up what she can do.
Nice.
So it's yeah, some days are better than others. Some days she goes, some days she doesn't.
Yeah.
Interesting. And you're up in Toronto. What could she come here for training? How do you assist people flying in? Is that a realistic thing, or?
We have so many families that have moved here. I don't know if you've noticed the campers that are here that are actually traveled from other states. We get people, especially for the camps, that do it all the time. We've got kids that move here, their whole families. Until we can expand this to other states, which we're trying to do, a lot of families move here for it. But one of the things, like 98.5% of the kids that come here, we may put on scholarship, because we don't want, this kind of pathway just for those families that can afford it. We don't want parents to be like, oh, you're already spending $100,000 a year on autism services. Now give us money so you can come here for our program too. That just feels disingenuous, and it doesn't fulfill our mission. So we work hard to find grants and scholarships for kids to come here, learn a trade, and then we get them placed into a job.
Wow. Peter, would she benefit from learning the trades here? Is that something she's into?
As long as there are not rotating like drills or saws or machinery like that. It's her, she's very sensitive to that sound, and it's a hard time working with me on my hobbies, because if I light up the circular saw, she runs off. She has to be going.
Interesting. Okay. And what kind of projects, hobbies does she help you with? Like, what are you guys working on?
Well, we can do non-electric machines. We can do hammering. We can do hand saw or activities like that. But for her, it's the sound she's sensitive to.
Right. How does she do with things like AutoCAD and cybersecurity and different things like that?
She's good at the computer.
Yeah.
I ask her for solutions for the stuff. It's good. She's good with the phone for apps and whatnot. She knows.
Right.
But to be fair, Peter was working on punch cards, so anybody could help out. Just kidding. No, he's awesome.
That's awesome. We have a program. We have a partner with a local university here where our kids do cybersecurity, and it's called Project Pisces. And the idea is that, it's set up to cover the rural parts of the state, because like Denver Metro has a lot of infrastructure, a lot of cybersecurity needs. But the rural parts of the state that have a lot of like plants, for example, also need that same kind of security, but they don't attract the same kind of talent. So we've got it set up where there's a network across the state. And at the university, they're actually keeping those facilities in the rural parts of the state safe, which is really pretty cool. Wow. So, and they get certificates for that, and then they go and do it as a job. So it's kind of fun. Could be an option too.
And Peter, what's the plan for, grade 13? Like, what is there, a college or a trade, or what are you guys thinking?
Yeah, she can be admitted to college in her area of interest, but it's new surroundings, new situations, and so much as solitary study in her own quiet room. There's too much going on in the classroom. It reverberates too much unless there's good sound deadening in the room space.
Right.
And it builds up, and within 40 minutes, she's done for the day, and she has to depart.
Wow.
If we go shopping in the mall, it's the same sort of thing where just about half an hour, and then she starts to get wound up. 45 minutes, she's cooked. So just overly input. So she has to mind.
I can relate to the mall. I mean, come on. That's a horrible experience unless you're like an 8th grader or a mom shopping on Christmas. There's no reason.
1994.
Yeah, there's no reason to go to the mall. That is overwhelmingly silly situation. I can't. Maybe I'm on the spectrum. I can't handle the mall.
Maybe the mall's in the 80s, Ron.
Oh, last time I was there, probably.
Now there's only 3 stores.
Yeah, that's fair.
They're all closing up. Yeah,
that's true.
That's funny. In the 90s, we'd go to the mall and like we'd stand by the payphone looking for a fight. It was ridiculous. It was so stupid.
And you go and listen to records and CDs in the music shops.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, man.
You must be from New Jersey.
Yeah. That's what it is, man.
Lay on the sharper image bed.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. That was a great one. They never kicked us out. We would just sit there and get massages all day. That's funny. All right, cool, man. Geez. Peter, I don't know. Stay in touch with Danny. You can look this up. What's the website?
It's buildwithtact.org. So if you go to www.buildwithtact.org, you can see us. Actually, since you guys are doing shop stuff, we were actually on Mike Rowe's show. There's a link to us on there on Mike Rowe's show, which is really cool. So you have to check that out too.
Dude, Mike Rowe and Discovery Channel, they kind of helped out the whole shop class. As you kind of know, like shop classes got just decimated in the 90s because for some reason, if you work with your hands, you're a lowlife or whatever, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just every engineer, anybody smart we've ever interviewed is always like, yeah, I work my hands and my brain.
Yeah.
I don't see why you separate the two.
Yep.
Anyway, so isn't that funny?
That's true. God. No, he's great. His foundation's good. And his whiskey is pretty good too, if you guys
like
whiskey,
nice.
So, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Right.
Cool. Noah, what do you think of this place, man? Don't you want to go here? I think it's good. He's gonna unmute.
Yeah, I mean, your setup is sweet. I was really impressed. Very cool. Like, I'm sure that didn't happen overnight, and that's really cool.
It's taken years. But the neatest thing is like all the businesses that are hiring our graduates are all the ones jumping in to make sure that we have all this stuff. And I think that's the best part is they're hiring our kids. They recognize the value, and then they're jumping in to help us get this space. So it's not like just some charity effort for them. It's like genuinely like they believe in what we're doing, which I think makes it extra special.
That's awesome.
So how are you getting, like, when like the kids enter the program, is it like, hey, I get to choose like my potential career? How does that look for the students?
So we do the camps just like Ron's helping us do now, where we use it as like a prerequisite and kind of a pre-assessment tool to see what kids are interested in. And we have got workshops and stuff on the weekends after schools where they can come in and try it and then see what they like, kind of just like 90-minute blocks. If they can try welding a few times, if it's not for them, they want to try carpentry. And then once they've discovered that, we've kind of assessed that too. Because like Peter was talking about, like his daughter, if we have that kind of knowledge before, we're not going to recommend a welding class for her or, some kind of other class. We try to gauge it based upon their talents and abilities and then work with them. And then we get them placed into our career tracks program, which comes Monday through Friday. And then we work with them where it's, much more intensive at that point, where we're like really honing in on those skills. And then we get them placed into careers. And then we've got a team of employment specialists that go out and support them in that job. So it's not like they've just graduated. Here's your piece of paper. Yeah, you did it. And you're good luck to you. We're with them in the actual job, making sure they're successful for a period of time before we set them, completely loose.
So, and then you also you were mentioning job placement is your way of measuring success.
It's one of them. Yeah.
Oh, okay. In the school system, I don't even think they even measure anything besides your SAT scores.
And your graduation rate.
Yeah. Oh, that too. Right.
Yeah.
And so if you drop out, start a business and become a billionaire, you're actually in their eyes a loss, right? Like they lost on that one.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, because they don't carry any statistics. So I'm really happy to hear that you're worried about what happens after. Were you effective? How do you collect the data? Just literally call them up and keep in touch with them?
No, we're actually working with Children's Hospital, where you're doing a 3-year study with Children's Hospital, where they're the ones collecting all that data.
No kidding.
And then what we want to do is by having that study with Children's Hospital, they'll do a big publishing report of all the stuff that we're doing.
So it's independent.
That's correct. Yeah, because we can tell you this stuff, and you can talk to the businesses that are hiring our kids.
This is good.
But at the end of the day, we want that little balloon boy on some data showcasing that what we're telling people is really happening.
Nice. I like that. Independently audited. That's what they should do at the public schools. I work there and I love all the opportunities, but there's some criticism there, you know. Duke, man, what are you going to come here and take some classes? What do you think?
This is awesome. This program, like that was my question, was how do you get the kids to the school? So like, is there, you know, enough students to attract it from the Denver area?
Oh, yeah, we have 100 student waiting list right now, for example, just to get in here.
Wow.
There's 12 different school districts that send kids to us, and they either bus them to us or the ones that are older, because we've got a lot of kids in their 20s and early 30s that come for our post-secondary stuff too. And they'll either take public transportation. And, you know, we used to use the Corvair bus to pick them up at the train stop. Now we have, you know, one of the white church buses, 15 passenger Chevy Express vans, you know, that you see all over the place. So, yeah.
Now, this is awesome because realistically, we do have autistic kids in the school because they're, you know, they try to incorporate them into the, you know, a regular classroom setting, but sometimes it's not always for them. Like, if you had room for growth, where would you see, like, would it be like a VOTEC? Like our VOTEC school now services about 4 or 5 districts, which, you know, do you see the need for that? Or something like a UTI, you know, Universal Technical Institute, where there's different locations across the country, so it will be a little bit more widespread. Like,
that's the one we're going for. We don't want to be like the autism wing of a traditional voc school, in the sense where we don't want it to still be segregated in that sense, where it's like, here's the neurotypicals, here's the neurodiverse. But we are working on growing, and we're actually, if you guys do the career technical education curriculum, the ACTE, we're going to be presenting at their conference in Arizona in December, which we're excited about to talk about that as we're looking at these different spaces. But Jersey, for example, actually has the highest autism rate of any state in the country.
Oh, wow.
So the 1 in 36, they only take about 14 states, and they only measure that with 8-year-olds. When you start looking at other states, like California is another one that's really high. In Jersey, for example, it's like 1 in 22, 1 in 24. And then they take other states and they come up with that average of 1 in 36. The real number has got to be exceptionally higher than that. So I'm trying to find those states too that can support us in doing that. But there's going to be a lot of growth. So hopefully next year will be more satellite offices set up in Colorado, and then further from there. So
yeah,
cool.
these schools need to be set up now. Like, just take your building and start plopping them around the different states, because you know, the studies are out there. You know,
they are. And like, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Duke. Go ahead.
But the studies are more recent. You know, the knowledge about autism. You know, studying it. But the studies are out there, tactical learning for them and everything. That would be awesome. You know, these facilities though need funding, and they need to get set up like.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah.
And they absolutely. It's interesting. You know, we just had a panel. Mitsubishi's one of our sponsors. They were just here yesterday. And Ron saw them, you know, walking through, and the Fabricators and Manufacturers Association, they flew in from Chicago too.
Oh, that's cool.
And they were here too, and as part of this thing. And as they were talking to us, they were saying it's literally 10,000 people a day from the baby boomer generation are retiring, and it's going to continue like that all the way to about 2030. So for every 5 skilled tradespeople that leave, only 2 more enter. So the gap is just growing ever wider and wider and wider. And until we start, like you were saying, recognize the value of the trades and stop making it sound like it's something lesser than, and showcasing that, you know, the salaries our kids come up with and get, it's nuts. I mean, like, they make really, really good money, and people don't talk about that. Oh, you got to go to college and get $250,000 in debt and, you know, do whatever. Man, I mean, if that's your path, God bless you. Good luck with it.
Wow.
But there is a definite need.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You know, I want to just follow up with Peter, and I got sort of the same question for Danny. Is Peter, have you ever seen a facility like this in the autism community?
Not so much, not so directly. It's always, as you were saying, Danny, the segregated from, and it's always a special, different area, and they concentrate them together. Some places, you know, are better integrated, where they're part of the regular class structure.
Mhm.
But because of the different needs, and each one, as you were saying earlier, has a different peculiar ability.
Yeah.
Right? They're either really fast or they're slower, and then they catch up, and then but most cases they're quicker.
Yeah.
They're not perceived as such, and that's the misperception is the thing to get other people around that. And no, they're marvelous. The grocery store I used to work for had a program where they would, well, with subsidy, take on autistic students or people and employ them at regular rates, which was good.
Yeah.
So no, we just have to learn more about them and how wonderful they all are.
No, I agree with you. And, people don't realize too, like, Elon Musk, who maybe he's still the richest man in the world. I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah.
He's autistic himself, right? Yeah. So, I mean, the richest man in the world is autistic. That's designed the electric cars.
Yeah.
That's doing the moon stuff. I mean, we need different minds that think creatively and actually look at the world differently. And
that's the key to it.
Yeah.
Just to add in, I know you got to go in a sec, right?
Yeah.
Just to add in, thinking differently. It's funny because people, you ever hear someone use the word evolution in a derogatory way, like, oh, why don't you just evolve or something like that, right? But evolution is actually, you have the main branch, and then there's this other branch that comes along. It's different, a different idea. And if that works, it'll become the main. Mm-hmm. So it's not so much pushing on the main, it's trying other stuff or allowing for other ideas to grow. That's what becomes the main.
Well, on that point, like there's he's a brilliant guy. His name's Tim Goldstein. If you guys look up Tim Goldstein, he designed the neurodiversity programs for like Microsoft, Google, HP, all these. He's a super smart guy. And he worked with the university in Cleveland, and they did a study, or they just broke it down in a way that people understand. When you're like looking at diversity of thought, cognitive diversity, neurodiversity, then you start saying, okay, of every 100 people, and you like look at the numbers, a certain number have autism, ADHD, ADD, dyslexia, apraxia, and it goes down the list. When you start looking at it from that framework, it's 92 out of every 100 people have some form of neurodiversity of some sort. What he was saying is the ones that we think of as, the quote normal kids, we're just the agreeable ones. We're the ones that will go along with whatever, we're told to do.
Yeah.
And then the kids that kind of push back and go against the grain all of a sudden, they're the atypical ones all of a sudden.
Conformity's overrated, man. All right, I just got one more question for you.
Yeah.
Have you thought about or integrated any sort of incubator entrepreneur thing where you launch companies out of here?
Yeah.
Maybe a kid has an idea, they want to see it through. I mean, I got to tell you guys, I work with some of the volunteers here. A kid who graduated from here, Seamus.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I mentioned him now. If it's okay with you to mention him.
Yeah.
But he is amazing.
Yeah.
He anticipates what you need beforehand. He sees what you're doing. He goes and gets the tool. He sees what you're thinking about doing. He goes and gets it set up. I mean, I could use a Seamus back east. But have you thought about taking some of your, giving them the opportunity to do an entrepreneurship or incubator?
Oh, absolutely. We do all kinds of stuff to get them excited. I mean, even like the stuff they're doing right now in the Fixer Up camp, to take that and say anything from like becoming a handyman and going out and doing that, or making products and selling them on Etsy. I mean, all kinds of different things.
Okay.
And then setting them up with that kind of stuff to hopefully be successful. That's a trickier thing when you get into the autism community, because our kids have to be paid at least minimum wage. And so if they're not working on the same speed, and then by the time they sell their product, if it doesn't equal a fair minimum wage, it gets you into kind of trouble. So it's finding those pathways that lead them to that successful financial outcome too.
Okay.
It's kind of fun. It's a good question.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. A late comer to the scene. We got Nick. How you doing, Nick?
Present.
He's present. You missed it. We're wrapping up, but Nick's from upstate New York. He's a high school shop teacher and a fireman.
Well, we just shared the secret of life, so you missed it. It's not 42, in case you were wondering. So we did.
Who knows that reference? Peter knows that reference, guaranteed, right?
Definitely 5.
It's funny. That's a great one.
Nick's also a Grumman owner.
Oh, that's right.
Are you a Grumman guy?
Hold
or
on.
Stock?
It's Grumman. What kind of Grumman you got sitting in the lawn there?
It's a 1970.
It's a bread truck.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
All aluminum and
Grumman directly.
he picked it up at the factory. So he knows some people from the factory there in Long Island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my family. That's kind of wild.
Did you sell it to him directly? Maybe. Well, right now,
my friend's father was one of the maintenance guys there at the Beth Page.
Really? Out in Bethpage? How many years ago?
Well, he passed away in 07, so he was still there at that point.
Okay. Well, if you ever knew a Richard Combs or a Harry Deal, so those were my family members. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
To be fair, there's a tree growing through the engine bay right now. He's tried to sell it. The guy ghosted him. It's a scene, and now it's storage.
Well, it's aluminum, so it's not going to rust. So you got that going for it. So
The frame will rust out, but the bottom, it's fine.
Well, we want to get Danny out of here. He's got a thing to do. But this was really cool. I appreciate everybody being here.
Thank you, guys.
Danny, thanks for doing this.
Thanks so much. My pleasure, my friend.
And looking forward to 2 more days of teaching here. I'm enjoying it. This is great here, not just the facility, working with the kids.
Ron, how did you end up in Denver?
Oh, so in the summer, I've been volunteering for Electric Vehicle Learning Center, which is kind of, in a way, I guess it would be the nonprofit teaching arm of EV West, although I don't think they're financially connected.
Yeah.
But it's in the same parking lot, and it's basically supported. Like if you need something, you walk over and you just grab a tool and walk out. They have no problem with it. So I started doing that, especially during the pandemic too. Because I knew EV West because they were my supplier for a lot of my electric car builds at the schools.
Right.
And Michael Bream, awesome guy, super nice, really smart. He's got like 10 years of experience. It's funny because I actually got into electric cars before he did, and my supplier retired when they went from lead acid to lithium.
Right.
And he was like, I don't want to be a part of it anymore. So he retired, and then I said, well, who am I going to buy my stuff from? And that was, by the way, if anybody is historic about this, that was Wister Rhodes from KTA in Southern California. Anyway, so he says, there's this new guy, Michael Bream, on the scene. And I was like, all right, let's go see him. So we went and saw him, and that was like 10 years ago.
Huh.
Okay, so long story short, EVLC, they opened up teaching, and I started helping them volunteer with online.
Okay.
We did a lot of online stuff. And then they said, hey, do you want to teach a class? I did that last summer. And then recently, do you want to go to Denver and teach at the school? And I was like, yeah, that sounds amazing. Let's do it. Yeah. So that's kind of how I found the place. Yeah.
Happy to have you. It's fun, my
friend. Thanks. Anyway, all right. Well, we'll let Danny get out of here. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
We'll wrap this up. Let's end the recording right there. And let me see. Okay, Shop Class Podcast. Thanks a lot. Recording. Stop recording. Cool.